Welcome back to the Rebel Empire podcast right here on the DFPN. It is your boy Frank D. Vader, joined by my co-host, Mr. Gib'yon. What's up, bro? It's been a while since we got up here and did our Star Wars thing. First of all,
Yeah.
how you doing, my man?
All right, man. I'm doing pretty good. I can always complain, but then ain't nobody listening.
Exactly. And see, that's what the Jedi do. So all you do is complain.
Oh, whatever. We
Yeah,
get stuff done.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, listen, us Sith get things done too. Remember Order 66?
Yeah, I remember Order 66, and then I remember a young Jedi trainee beat both Vader and Palpatine.
I see. Okay. He did do the job. I'll give him that. But we're gonna have some fun tonight. We are going to be talking about Maul Shadow Lord. We're going to be talking about the Mandalorian and Grogu, the current state of Star Wars as it relates to feature films and what's going on right now with the box office is very controversial. With the first Star Wars movie released in theaters in the past 7 years, so it was a big deal. And right now, it's underperforming, and we're gonna talk about that. But I think the first thing on the list right now is this. So we've had Maul Shadow Lord come out,
Yeah. Yep.
and me personally, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. Me and Black Mac on No Gimmicks podcast, which you guys go out there listen to that right now. The episode just dropped on the official No Gimmicks YouTube channel, so go check out that episode. Leave a like, comment, subscribe to that glorious podcast that we do out there. What did you think of Maul Shadow Lord? Because a lot of people out there were talking about, well, it wasn't my cup of tea. They should never have brought Darth Maul back to begin with. He already died in Rebels, and I have to point out to people that that's correct. But guess what? George wanted to bring him back. That was George Lucas' decision. He brought him back, and he wished he never killed him off to begin with in the Phantom Menace. So I take it to you. What do you think about it, my man?
I'll say this: George regretted killing him in the Phantom Menace. And the reason why he was brought back in Clone Wars is because George wanted him back. And so they brought him back in Clone Wars. He died in Rebels. And this takes place in between Clone Wars and Rebels. It's got to. And as a matter of fact, it takes place before Solo movie.
Yeah.
I put Maul in that same category that I put Cassian in Andor. When they said they were going to do an Andor TV series. I know the ending. What more are we going to see from this guy that's going to fill him out?
Yeah.
And I was searching for that. And did I get it? Yes, I got it. I am looking forward to season 2 of Maul's Shadow Lord, which is a good surprise because I was like, Maul's kind of, on his way down. Yeah. But they're showing pretty much how he got to the point where he was in Rebels when, he faced up against Obi-Wan.
Right.
We saw in Maul that he lost all his support. He's fully dependent on Crimson Dawn.
Yeah.
Because they came and saved him, and it's just him. But he's got his eye on Devin, as an apprentice, in which I think they're pulling her from the legends, the EU, and she might be Darth Talon or Talon.
Yeah, I think that I think that she's going to be kind of like a variation of Darth Talon. I don't think they're going to go full Darth Talon. they tend to stay away. So they tend to stay away. Them, being Disney, they tend to really stay away from anything to do with Legends or the EU. And we have our suspicions as to why they do this. Money is why I think they do it. Um, Timothy Zahn has gone on record several times and stated that he has actually reached out to Lucasfilm and Dave Filoni about helping with Thrawn, because this is the guy who created Thrawn
Yeah.
and hasn't gotten a phone call about anything. And this is one of the people that kind of helped build that Legends continuity. He helped build the EU. And Lucasfilm doesn't want anything to do with him at this point. And I think it all comes down to money. And this is like this. These are the people. If you're the Walt Disney Company and you want to salvage Star Wars, these are the people that you need to be involved. And I will tell you real quick, while we're on the subject of Maul, one person out there that I think should have kind of maybe an executive role somewhere as far as creative goes, someone who knows the Star Wars universe, they need to give Sam Witwer more responsibility, because this guy here is a walking encyclopedia. Not only does this guy voice so many different characters, I mean, we saw him with Starkiller and Darth Maul. I mean, he really brought Maul to life, and I think that he should be getting more, more bang for his buck, pretty much, over at Lucasfilm. I think that these are the type of creatives that Dave Filoni needs in there to kind of steer the ship the right way.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree, but some of the older hands from the EU and from the Legends can help with story, driven techniques.
Yeah.
I don't think it's so much as money, because we know the mouse got deep pockets.
Well, it is. I mean, because one of the reasons why I say that is because it's when Catherine Kennedy came out and says that we don't have anything, we don't have any stories, and a lot of that has to do with, I believe that when they bought Lucasfilm, they did not want to pay those authors, you know, anything for those books that they had wrote, because you had to pay royalties for that stuff. And I think that's what I've been told, is that Disney didn't want to pay. So that's why Disney doesn't have anything to do. That's why they turned all that into Legends. They want to do their own thing at this
Well,
point.
that kind of rocks, but it doesn't, because when they bought Lucasfilm, they bought Star Wars, they
Right.
bought Legends, they bought the whole kit and caboodle. So they still have to, the royalties of what does sound, that was gone with some of the books and some of the novels, they still are paying out. I think that it has to do with their direction, what they want to put the spin on, and them moving past. They wanted to move past, the Skywalkers. They wanted to move past all this other stuff, and they keep having to circle back. But I truly think that Dave Filoni, Filoni is Dave. He likes to control characters. He likes to control everything, and it's more or less everything that you see him putting up is of his creation.
Yeah.
They brought back Maul because they wanted Maul.
Right.
People love Maul.
Yeah.
And so they thought the Maul would be a good refreshing, and it was a hit. I like it. I loved it. The whole story of how it's going, and I truly hated that he lost his two Zabraks and
Yeah.
old girl, the Mandalorian that was still with him. That was my girl, and she went out hard. The voice actress actually said, if she dies, I want her to die with Vader ripping her lungs out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's supposedly what happened off screen, the screams and all that stuff. And I was like, ah.
You know, when we look back on that episode there, when Vader shows up, I have to give it to them. This just the way they pulled that off was just, that was slick, because the Inquisitors say alert him that they are on their way,
Yes.
and you don't know. I mean, you kind of know, but you don't know. And the way they pull it off, they go to this jungle, and you're hearing all this stuff, and it sounds like a wild animal or something out there. Some kind of monster is what it sounds like out there that pulls her. She says there's something out there, and she gets force pulled, and that's
Yep.
it. You hear her neck snapping or whatever. That's it. And you hear all you hear is that breathing, and that's all you need is that breathing. And here he comes, and Maul looks at him, and it's on at that point. And I was like, that was so well done. As a matter of fact, they don't even tell you if you watched it on Disney Plus. They don't even tell you what episode 10 is called. It was blank.
Yes.
You didn't know until you played it, and then it said Sith Lord. That's what what
Yep.
it was. So I mean, it's stuff like that. Those creative decisions are things that I like because it keeps the intrigue going. And me personally, I listen, D Vader, right? I thought Vader was awesome in Maul. I mean, this was Vader on steroids. This was Vader that just you could not touch him. He went out there and did his thing. That's what it was. But a lot of people were talking about, well, they didn't have him speak, and it's like, oh, I guess there has to be something with James Earl Jones's voice, and the voice rights, and all that. They just didn't want to pay. Hey, people, you do realize that James Earl Jones signed his voice rights to Disney a long time ago, so that they could use him for Vader, right?
And
So that has something to do with it.
before he died, before he
Yeah,
passed, he actually went to the studios and recorded him speaking lines, him speaking words, him going. I think they did like it was a huge session of him just recording different things just so that they can use for Vader in perpetuity.
right. Yeah, and
So
that's how the
that's not the
re-speecher
case.
works. No, it's not the
People,
case. That's just people speculating about what and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. It has nothing to do with that. Vader didn't have to say a word. Now, if they go into when they go into season 2, I believe Maul is going to fight Vader again. Possibly, they probably going to fight again because something has to happen where he says, "I cannot defeat Vader alone."
well,
Okay, you would
remember
think
he said that in Clone Wars,
Rebels
right?
when he said
He
Rebels.
said in Rebels.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
all right.
they've already fought, but he fought him with the 2 Jedi. He never faced him by himself. So he's gonna fight him again, I think, and he's gonna lose. That's when he's gonna say,
Oh,
I cannot defeat Vader I cannot defeat the one they call Vader alone. So
he
that's
can't.
where I'm thinking we're going.
He couldn't defeat him with 2 Jedi.
No, he couldn't. That's what I'm saying. It was Vader on steroids, man. And for people out there, I'm about to get my nerd on right quick. Okay.
Go ahead.
The drawing that they did there, that inspiration of Vader, that Vader was based off of the Obi-Wan Kenobi Vader. That's what that was. So, and people, because I got my OVD going, obsessive Vader disorder syndrome. That's what we got. So, so when I saw, that's the first thing when I saw him, I'm like, let me pause this so I can see what costume it is. It's the Kenobi Vader. It's just
So
got the Kenobi.
if you also think about it too, the
Yeah.
first time you ever see Vader in film,
Yeah.
for the first little bit, he doesn't speak. He comes through that mug wrecking house. He doesn't speak. It's the same way they did it in episode 4, A New Hope in the beginning. They
Yep.
showed it again at the end of
Rogue One.
Rogue One, which
Yep.
is the beginning. Then they
Yep.
showed it during Obi-Wan, Kenobi, the Kenobi series, where
Yeah.
he just walks through and he is just unleashing holy hell.
Yeah.
It actually shows the disdain that Vader has for Jedi themselves and other Force users. Like somebody said, think about it, whenever you see Vader and he's using one hand and going forth, he is showing them that he has a contempt for them, that they are not on his level.
Right. And it's just like Palpatine hated lightsabers. He thought they were just like, but he'll use a lightsaber and knows lightsaber combat to fight the Jedi, but he hated lightsabers.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's the same thing. But yeah, like people seem to forget these things. When you're right, when Vader appeared in Obi-Wan, he was walking down that street, and the first thing he did was choke the guy, pulled him out the window, and choke the life out of him. His kid comes out, he breaks his neck with the Force, continues walking, and this is all to draw Obi-Wan out. Okay, he didn't say a word. He didn't say a word until he got to him and Obi-Wan.
Correct.
And Obi-Wan says, what have you become? And he says, I am what you made me.
Yeah.
That's when because Vader likes to talk. Vader, I mean, at the end of the day, it's Anakin Skywalker. Anakin Skywalker was egomaniac, arrogant.
Yeah.
So he likes to talk. I mean, look at what he said to Luke in episode 5. He kept everything. Just kept running his mouth the whole time. You learned much, young one. All this stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, he likes to talk. So I don't think anything to do with it. I think they're saving it. He says you're no Inquisitor. So what are you? Would have been cool if Vader would have said something. Yeah, that would have been dope. But he didn't have to say anything because he's showing. I'm showing you all my might. And the mere fact that they did a jump scare in Star Wars.
Bro, what? When he came through that wall, I said, oh my God.
Yeah. Now how dope was that?
It was so dope. This was the Vader boogeyman that we always heard about. That we saw, I'm a EU, I'm a Legends fan, and we've read about it in the Legends. Where Vader was the boogie friggin' man. When he showed up, shit went left.
Yeah.
And people got scared,
Yeah.
And this is why he was who he was, because of stuff like this. And just the fact that the other two, the Inquisitors, gave him that much deference. One, they knew they knew who they were dealing with, and to stay out of his way to isolate the whatchamacallits. And I have to say, I didn't like the fact that the Padawan was giving both the Inquisitor, was holding her own against both the Inquisitors. When both the Inquisitors were, light speed ahead of what she was supposed to have been. But I mean, it's TV. They had to do what they had to do. So
that's Disney. You got to have a strong female. So that's even though it's two Inquisitors, and we know nothing about these two Inquisitors. Like we don't have a backstory. We know that we saw them in the Ahsoka series, and we saw them in Tales of the Jedi. But as far as the backstory goes, we don't know. I mean, because majority of the Inquisitors are former Jedi, so we don't know the history of Marak. We don't know the history of the 11th brother. I think that's something that I would like to see them delve into more. Possibly, I don't know, an Inquisitor show, Disney. Maybe I don't know.
Tales of the Sith, the Inquisitors.
Tales of the Inquisitors. I mean, like I've always said, man, the Obi-Wan show would not have been so much heat behind it if it would have just been called Vader and the Inquisitors, or the Inquisitorius, or wherever the hell it would have been. And if Vader would have killed Reva, it would have been nothing, because the whole story could have been about this former Padawan who became an Inquisitor, who infiltrated the Inquisitorius and the Empire to get to Vader.
Yeah.
The story writes itself. Doesn't have to be called Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I do want to say this. You made a point of saying we saw the two Inquisitors in Tales of the Jedi or Tales of the Sith.
But we saw the
and
11th brother in Tales of the Jedi.
we saw Marok in Ahsoka.
Ahsoka. Right.
The biggest thing in Ahsoka was Ahsoka kills Marok, but when she cuts him open, that death green gas that signifies he's already dead. I think that we saw him die in Maul Shadow Lord. Because he got flung off the cliff, of which all we didn't hear was that.
I don't think he died. I don't think he died.
He died somewhere, and that would be just as good as point of any.
Well, remember, they were using those lightsabers, you know, kind of spinning them like they were like, you know, helicopter blades. So they can do that. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think he died. I think he died somewhere else. I don't think it's here though. But Vader, of course, you know, Vader would be pissed because, like, okay, listen, I sent you two out here to do this. Now I got to come handle it because you two can't get it done.
Yeah.
So now I got to come off of Mustafar from thinking about Kenobi 24/7 to come out here and to come out here and handle this. Come out here and handle what you guys couldn't do. Yeah. That's how if I'm Vader, that's how I'm looking at it. Now I got to clean up your mess.
Yeah, and I mean it's definitely gonna be some mess between Vader and those two. You know, if both of them survive,
and then, that's where Filoni does the best work is animation. They proved it right here.
Yeah,
that's where he shines at. But he also but also remember, Sam Witwer helped with this as well.
He did.
So that's what I'm getting at here, where somebody that knows these characters, Sam Witwer knows them. Like, I would love for them to bring to live action Starkiller. Tell that story in live action with Vader. Because they always say, well, you know, what can we do with the stories that you can tell with Vader? Okay, well, listen, we have 2 games, Unleashed, that you can actually bring that story to live action. You can do that. You can actually bring Cal Kestis into live action. Cameron Monaghan, live action Cal Kestis, fighting Vader. There's lots of things you can do here that people would be into.
I think you can bring Cal Kestis to live action. Starkiller, I'm not so sure. Starkiller would break continuity. It will break what it is that, you know, because if you have Starkiller, there's no need for Luke. Because Starkiller doesn't die. So where does Starkiller go?
Yeah, that's true. But see, they do that all the time anyway.
He does. He does.
Yeah, they do it all. They do it all the time. Pablo Hidalgo, they don't keep up with that because if they were keeping up with this stuff, then we would never have seen Darth Plagueis and the Acolyte.
Mm-hmm.
So we never would have saw Ki-Adi-Mundi and the Acolyte if they were into it like that. They don't care about the lore.
Well, it was 100 years. Ki-Adi-Mundi was alive back then, and he was a Jedi. He's old as dirt.
Yeah,
his species is not as long lived as Yoda's, but he's lived for a couple centuries.
You remember the controversy about that though at the time, right? Where he wasn't born, technically wasn't born yet. They looked it up, and he wasn't even born around that time of the Acolyte, the High Republic.
They said
they had inserted Ki-Adi-Mundi. Yeah. They say he wasn't even alive. It was a big old thing, dude. You gotta look it up one day. It was a big old controversy that about that. It was like who brought it up? Star Wars Theory brought it up. A bunch of people brought it up that he wasn't even alive during that time, and they just inserted him in, just like they inserted Yoda into the story at the end. There's a lot of stuff. That's why I say they don't care about the lore like that, unfortunately.
I'll look it up. That'll be something. Yeah. I thought Ki-Adi-Mundi was a Jedi back then.
Yeah, because basically what they were talking about is they say the big controversy too was in the Phantom Menace. They say the Sith hasn't been seen in the millennium. Yeah, that completely contradicts that of what happens in the Acolyte, because there's a Sith running around, the Stranger.
Well,
a red blade.
they had not confirmed whether or not even at the end of the Accolade, they have not confirmed whether or not he was a Sith or a dark user, a dark force user. They are surmising, but they don't know, and that's the only. That's
Well,
the
he
only
did say
thing.
he did say he says you may call me Sith, is what he said.
Well, no, he said some because when old boy said you were Sith, he said some may have called me one. He
No, he
never
said
said you
you.
may call me a Sith.
Oh, well, he says you may call. Yeah, I think that's what he said. He says you may call me Sith,
No, he
but he
says
says I just
some
want to
have.
practice my religion or
He
practice. I
says
just want to be some. It's
yeah.
something to that effect.
He
But basically, Red Blade.
well, red blade, but again, red blade doesn't always mean Sith. Remember, they haven't had a Sith in all those time, but they did not have, but they've put down dark side users and
Yeah,
dark force users um, during that time. That's that's the equivalent. I wish that we could have got season two. I know how you feel about it, and I know how others feel about it, but we never will know. But I do agree with you. They don't care about continuity so much. Even Filoni has said, "Hey, it's a great big galaxy. Sometimes things are remembered differently. So if some of the details change, it just depends on who's telling the story." And I'm like,
right.
yeah, that's not exactly how that goes, but
Well, let me ask you this question since we're talking about Filoni. Um, he recently came out and said that the world between worlds is not really used for time travel or anything like that, and it can't mess with anything to do with. And I'm like, bro, we literally saw Ezra pull Ahsoka from a portal when Vader was about to kill her. That altered that situation because Ahsoka lives, the sequel trilogy happens. We literally saw this because that's how this thing goes. But he says it doesn't. Now, I ask you, what in your opinion is the world between worlds?
uh back in the day they had a GI Joe cartoon, right? And they had an
Yeah.
episode where they had this thing, and I got to do the accent right. They got a MacGuffin device, and the MacGuffin device, they talked about what it could be and all this stuff. And at the end, we know what a MacGuffin device is. It's something that allows them to correct or to change whatever they want at whatever point they want. It's a Deuce X. It's a MacGuffin device, and that's what I believe the world between worlds is to Dave Filoni. I think he will use it however he sees fit, and he will change the narrative on what it is whenever he sees fit to change it.
Yeah.
The world between worlds will be what he needs it to be when he needs it to be, whatever he needs it to do. That's just my little take on it. And it him saying that, I think sometimes he needs to stop talking because he confuses a lot of different things. I think he should, when somebody asks him, "What's the world between worlds?" It is what it is. It's a world we don't really know. It's not fully explored. It's this, you know, it's where anything can happen, and it's the pure stuff of, the pure force. If he'd have said something like that and left it alone, people would have been like, "Oh, well, okay." But to say that you can't change anything when we know that it has 6, 7.
That's the whole point right there. I think that it's if you're working for Disney, you're Lucasfilm, and you're creative, I think the World Between Worlds is the best out that you can possibly have. If you want to go
Mhm.
back and clean up something that you no longer want to have as canon, or you want to, go back there and just tinker with things. Um, I think that's the best way to do it. And honestly, when we use the World Between Worlds, I thought it was cool when we saw it in Rebels. I thought it was cool when they brought it into live action with Ahsoka. Um, and I think that's what they're using it for. Now, there's people out there saying, "Oh, they're going to use the World Between Worlds, possibly to erase the sequel trilogy." That's a rumor going around. Apparently, Ahsoka season 2 was supposed to come out this year. It's been delayed until early next year, and there's a possibility that they went there to change some things. We know that Hayden Christensen has a much bigger role in Ahsoka season 2, and there's rumors that it could possibly be the Mortis arc that they're going with.
Mhm.
But Hayden Christensen is also going to be a part of 2 more Star Wars projects moving forward. And we don't know yet if those are Disney Plus shows, if those are live action movies. We don't know yet. I'm assuming it's going to be something that's going to make money, and that's the reason why you have him around there. I'm actually going to be seeing Hayden Saturday at SpaceCon. Gonna meet him. Gonna meet Ian McDermott and Jimmy Smith. I got a photo op with all 3, so that's gonna be kind of dope. Um, but you know how those photo ops go. You only get a second to basically worship them and say, "Oh, hey, yeah, you got it." So I'm gonna try to mark out quickly when I meet him. But so what do you think about that, man? Because Hayden Christensen's back. He's been a staple in the Star Wars universe, going all the way back to Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith. I mean, he was the man in the prequels. It took a lot of heat because people didn't like his acting, didn't like the direction of the prequels, didn't like him necessarily in Revenge of the Sith. Although it's been explained the reason why he kind of talked monotone is was getting ready for when he becomes Darth Vader. He was trying
Yes,
to actually mimic the
the
cadence of James Earl
cadence.
Jones. That's what he was doing there. So, but Hayden's getting all the love now, and it's great. I mean, he's a cool dude, and he may be the highest, you know, commodity that they have over at Lucasfilm right now as far as Star Wars go with Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader. So, in your opinion, with the information that I just relayed to you, where do you think they're going with Hayden Christensen in the future here?
I don't know where they're going with it. I think that they are. Um, I think that what they're trying to do is they're trying to do, like you said, use him to draw people in. Because he is. You find out that he's going to be there, Invader and all this stuff, and they want to see him, kind of in the mask with the mask off. This like they did in Kenobi. You saw his face.
Yeah,
And you see this in Ahsoka. They showed him as a redeemed Anakin.
right.
Who was it? He was pretty much the Mortis father. He would, he was showing both light side and dark side. He is a
Right.
complete whole in Ahsoka. So
Yeah.
they're going to want to show him doing that sort of stuff. What the two other Star Wars things he might be a part of, I have no clue. Um,
Yeah.
Using the world between worlds to reset the sequels. Um, Maybe he might have something to do with that. I doubt it. Um, I doubt it. That would be crazy. But whatever it is, it's going to be beneficial. It's going to make money, and it's going to stand out for Disney Star Wars.
Yeah.
Um, just seeing him do lightsaber tricks. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and him, whether or not he's going to be. Anakin, or they're going to show him as Vader, show him as both. We get some more live action Clone Wars footage with him, which would be dope.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. The sky's the limit as what you can do with Hayden Christensen at this point.
Yeah.
Because they said at one point that Daisy Ridley was their most valued asset as far as the Rey character. I'm like, that's a bunch of bullshit. No, you're the person, the characters that you have over there that you can still do something with is Darth Vader. That's one thing that Disney has done, I will say, that's made Vader into a monster is Darth Vader. Nobody can deny that. You could be the biggest Disney Star Wars hater you want to be. You cannot deny the fact that they have basically reintroduced Vader and turned Vader into a horror character. Is what they've done. We've
Yeah.
seen how vicious Vader can be. And one thing that I would hope that they would kind of work on that we haven't seen, and this is something that put out there in the universe, is I would love to see something with Luke Skywalker and Anakin on screen. I think that'd be kind of dope. We haven't done that. We have not done that. I would love to see it. I've seen it done in AI, but that's not canon to what we're doing here with Disney Star Wars. So I would love to see that. I actually saw a video the other day where it was Vader. It was Luke Skywalker visits the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, and Vader is there, but it's Anakin, and Anakin is he remembers everything that happened that he did in the Jedi Temple, Order 66, and he's struggling with that. So even though he's redeemed, he still struggles with that. And it was Vader that was talking. It was it's Anakin there in the flesh, but the voice would go back and forth between Vader and Anakin, and he's talking
That's
to
dope.
Luke.
That's
Yeah.
dope.
So I'm like, go ahead.
That's dope. Him gripping with his the duality of who he is,
Right.
and where Vader will rationalize it, Anakin has to live with the horror of what he did.
Right. Yeah, I have to say it to you. It was dope, man. So I wish that Disney would kind of go into that kind of show just with Anakin, because we saw it in Ahsoka a little bit where he did turn that Vader on. He turned the Sith on when he needed to.
Yeah,
Like you said, he balanced the light in the dark.
he's the whole.
The whole, yeah. So he did do that, and I wish that Disney would go further into that. That's why I kind of when he said when Thrawn said to the Night Sisters, I want to use some of your magic. When he found out that Ahsoka's master was General Anakin Skywalker of the Jedi Order, I thought he was like, okay, let's kind of manipulate this situation here. Let's kind of, because Thrawn knew Anakin was Vader. So I thought they were going to kind of go in that direction where he kind of, they'll use Night Sister magic to make Vader invisible to Ahsoka or something. I don't know. Something like some kind of like an illusion or something like that. That's why I thought they were going with that. So I don't know. Maybe they'll fix that coming up with season 2 of Ahsoka, but we got a long way to go before we get there. But final topic for tonight is so we had the first Star Wars movie out 7 years.
Yes,
The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Mandalorian and Din Djarin and Baby Yoda.
Right. And as we are recording this episode right now, the current box office is around $295 million worldwide. Okay.
Not good.
Not good. Not good for the fact that Disney has come out themselves and said that this movie needs about $600 million to go into black. So you saw the movie.
Yes.
I told you I wasn't going to watch it. I gave you my reasons why. But you saw it. What did you think of it? From people that I know that I've talked to, they have told me pretty much that it is basically 3 or 4 episodes of the TV show put together on a big screen. CGI is whatever. Grogu is whatever. And that's it. is it enjoyable for the most part? They say, yeah, it is, but it doesn't really feel like Star Wars. That's the consensus I got from them. Now let's say you.
Okay. For people to say it didn't feel like Star Wars, I have to say, excuse me, what? Uh, and the reason why I say excuse me, what is it totally feels like Star Wars. It feels like Star Wars in as much as any of the TV series without Jedi or Sith or Inquisitors or Force users feel like Star Wars. It feels like Star Wars as much as Andor felt like Star Wars. It felt like Star Wars, it feels like you remember the old Ewok movies?
I never watched them, but I heard about them.
They were not good, but they felt like Star Wars. They were Star Wars. And this was a Star Wars movie, and it felt like Star Wars. I actually enjoyed it. Like you said, they said, was it enjoyable? Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. There were some scenes in there that I enjoyed more than others. But overall, yeah, I enjoyed it. What people, I think what people were wanting, they were wanting different from Grogu or Baby Yoda. I hate calling him Grogu. That's not his name. They call it that. I don't know where they get that naming convention from, but Yoda, Yaddle, Wise, okay, Grogu. But they Din Djarin does pretty much what Din Djarin does. He's a bounty hunter, but they're showing a change in him because he's working for the new Rebel Alliance. That the fallout from the end of the Empire and the rebels trying to reinsert their order on the galaxy. And so he's working with them. You don't hear him talk about the Mandalorians on Mandalore. He doesn't talk about Bo-Katan. He doesn't talk about any of those guys. But he also says one thing that I noted: I'm only taking Imperial bounties. So he's only hunting for Imperials.
And so he's part of the New Republic.
He's a bounty hunter that I don't think that he exclusively works for him yet, but if they got work for him, he's only doing Imperial bounty hunting.
Interesting. So they are showing the Imperial Remnant, and they are showing the Shadow Council.
Yes. Yeah, they're showing basically the fallout and the breakdown of how these guys are losing power. Because on all these remote worlds and all these other stuff, the Imperials are still in charge. The rebels aren't as widespread and haven't gotten a coalition of worlds to hold the Senate again to formulate their power. So they're having to do what they're doing. And I do believe that. What was the series that Gina Carano was supposed to be a part of?
Rangers of the New Republic.
I believe that this probably would have been exactly what that would have been.
Yeah.
Showing them shore up and going after this, because he goes to collect bounties and he does this stuff. I think that they were also. It doesn't seem like this was an ending to me.
Yeah.
It doesn't, because even at the end, they go off into the, they just light speed jump, and that's the end, going off to new adventures or doing whatever. I don't think that it's the end. I think people were disappointed because Baby Yoda didn't speak.
Yeah.
He still seems kind of weak in the Force, but of course, he doesn't have a lot of training. Now,
I wonder why.
He does some pretty good stuff with the Force. And so he's using it, actively using it, so it's not going to decay on him. But they brought Rhoda back, and Rhoda is stacked.
Yeah, I saw that.
Rhoda stacked. People hate on that, and I had to tell people, you don't know the history of the Huts, do you? There's actually a reason why friggin' space slugs are some of the most feared criminal crime lords out there, because they are strong as hell. Their whole body is basically one muscle. Now they have atrophied, and they allow it to go to gluttony and all that stuff once they get up there. But the old Huts, they used to be about that life.
Yeah.
And
we saw it with Jabba.
yeah, they saw with Jabba and all that stuff. But the older Huts, like centuries before this, the Huts were, they were before they became, major crime lords. Them carving it out, they were rough. So Rhoda is back to that, but at the end, Rhoda actually kind of joins the Rebel Alliance, which was interesting to me. But you can see where him being rescued by Ahsoka and Anakin back in Rebels during that movie had that effect on him. It changed how he viewed his father, his uncles, and all those others. So
yeah. No, I remember that in the Clone Wars. Yeah,
they actually introduced who may be the replacement bounty hunter at the top for both Boba and what's the guy with the brim hat? Everybody loves a bounty hunter.
Cad Bane.
Cad Bane. His name's Imbo, and he actually captures Din Djarin. He captures Din Djarin, and then they almost kill him, but he gets away. So he's still out there, and he was a bad dude. There was some stuff that actually happened. Din Djarin, his helmet was taken off again.
Of course, Pedro wanted to have his face shown. Of course,
he's got to have his face shown, but he ends up killing everybody that saw his face. I would say the most Star Wars part of it is Din Djarin that got injured, and they were trying to get away from this planet, and he told Grogu to go with the little Anzalians, the little space guys, the fixers, and he told them, "Hey, go with them. I'll be on my way." And he goes back, and you just hear the music because he's going up against this old droid army, and you just hear the music, and you get the feeling. I actually thought, holy snap, they are actually going to kill Din Djarin. I really thought that, because when he goes and he's like, and I was like, we got a lot of movie left. This might be, Baby Yoda getting his Mandalorian on, and the Mandos coming and, dealing with these guys. But he does the Force heal, they showed that he didn't go. He does the Force heals him up, protects him a little bit, hides him. And so they show him doing some stuff. Okay, cool. But all in all, it wasn't a bad movie. It wasn't an ending to the Mandalorian saga as the TV series. Zeb had a big role in it. They showed the other pilots again. I believe this is what that show would have been if Gina Carano wouldn't have got fired by Disney.
Yeah.
So
that's
it's unfortunate that it's getting the Solo treatment.
Yeah. I think worse than Solo, as a matter of fact. I gotta check the numbers.
You got to check
Gotta
the
check the
numbers
numbers.
on that because
Yeah.
Solo was ugly for no reason.
Yeah.
But this is it's got the Solo act and how Disney moves forward from this will show whether or not they're able to shake it off and keep going forward with Star Wars, or if they're going to let this actually be a death knell.
It can never be a death knell because Disney spent $4 billion on this property. So what I think happens is I think Dave Filoni is going to be on a short leash. Is what I think. I think that they given him some time to fix it, and he really has to fix it. And if he doesn't fix it, then he'll be out just like that. I think that that's kind of where we're going to be at with Filoni.
Well, I
Um,
think that if Dave goes, John Favreau has got to go too, because he is lockstep with Dave on a lot of this.
well, Dave Filoni wrote this damn thing. Remember that.
He wrote it, but again, John Favreau has a lot of pull and a lot of control over what happens. They collaborate a lot.
So while we were talking here, I looked this up. So it says the Mandalorian and Grogu has outperformed Solo at the box office. It says during its opening weekend, the Mandalorian and Grogu grossed 100 million domestically and 63 million internationally, totaling 163 million. In contrast, Solo: A Star Wars Story earned approximately 215 million domestically and 215 million internationally over its entire run. So, but what I was referring to when the movie opened up the
Yeah,
4 day, that's what I was
yeah.
talking about, and I think Solo outperformed it still maybe, but by not very much. The bottom line of this is that we're at a point now when it comes to Disney Star Wars where you have a movie in the theater and in its second week it had a 70% drop in the second week. And the mere fact that Star Wars movies usually outperform,
They do.
this one has not. And till this day, the highest grossing Star Wars movies that they've done over at Disney is going to be The Force Awakens. You're going to put in there. Matter of fact, I mean, listen, call it what it is. Sequel trilogy. They all made like over $1 billion. But the best movie they've done is going to be Rogue One,
Rogue One, hands down.
and that's kind of what it is, And it's like if they had kind of maybe kind of consulted with George about the sequels, it probably would have turned out a lot better than what it did. I mean, because George had an idea. George gave them a kind of like a rough draft of kind of where to take the series. And I wish George would have actually done his shit before he sold it to Disney.
Well, George gave J.J. Abrams the rough draft and where he was going. We do not know exactly where J.J. Abrams was going to actually go because life happened, stuff happened. Kathleen Kennedy happened,
That's
and,
that part.
and he was taken off because I'm guessing because of backlash from the Force Awakens, which I thought it was good. And then when he left, he gave what's his name? I don't say his name. They gave him he was like, here's where I'm going with this. This is where, these are my notes, this is this. And old boy and Kathleen Kennedy threw it all in the trash.
Yeah.
And then they left J.J. Abrams. They called him back to, hey, fix this. Do your magic.
But he screwed up too because Mark Hamill went to him and asked, are we going to have Han, Luke, and Leia on screen together? We have all three surviving actors. Can we have it? Well, it's not really Luke's story anymore, bro. It was Luke's story. It was Luke's story after Return of the Jedi. That's Luke's story. What the hell are you talking about?
I think that if J.J. Abrams would have continued, we might have seen something in episode 8. I think that something in episode 8, it would have had all three of them on the screen, but it might have been a flashback.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford was hell bent on the only way he's returning is if Han Solo dies in The Force Awakens.
Yeah, well, I don't give a shit about Harrison Ford, to be honest, or Han Solo. He's not one of my favorite characters. I will tell you this: that he's not one of my favorites. I'm
he
sorry,
made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs.
He did, didn't he? Yeah, but he was frozen in carbonite. So, I that's another thing that I bring up right quick. That's one thing I wish that they would have not done, which was had Harrison Ford in Rise of Skywalker. That should have been Hayden Christensen, Anakin Skywalker. That should have been him talking to Kylo Ren to lead him back to the light side. But that's a different topic for a different day.
A different topic for a different day, and we actually do need to talk about that because I might disagree with you there. I think I do disagree with you there. But
okay.
Yeah, a different.
Well, the reason why I say that real quick, the reason why I say it should have been Anakin Skywalker he's talking to is because he always wanted to be like Vader.
Yes,
that was his whole point. He wanted to be like Vader. So if you want to be like someone, and that person shows up, who's going to turn you to the light side? There's a reason why Han Solo should have been there. Han Solo was not a Force ghost. If that's the case, then we can bring that reportment back as Padme, so she can appear. She was not a Jedi, and neither was he. So
no.
So that's what I'm saying. You could have brought Anakin there to talk to his grandson and lead him back to the light side. Talking about you don't have to be like Vader, yada yada yada. That's what I was getting at.
I understand what you're getting at, but the death that affected him most throughout this series was him killing his own father.
Yeah, he sure didn't act like it.
He did. Thank you for doing what you need, for this and this. And he kind of went, he had some little things about it, but that was his catalyst for, making that cross. That point of no return for him basically was him killing his father. I like Han. You don't like Han, so that colors a lot of what you have to say. But
no, I'll tell you like this. Let me put it into perspective. I don't like Harrison Ford. I got no problem with Han Solo. I don't like Harrison Ford.
Copy.
Yeah, Harrison Ford's an asshole, and he knows he's an asshole. That's my whole point. I don't like Harrison Ford. But some people say I'm an asshole, and I am. So there you go. But we'll definitely dive into the sequels one of these days. But that is going to conclude this episode tonight, episode 3 of the Rebel Empire. Is there anything else you want to say before we depart into the galaxy?
May the Force be with you.
Copy that. And also want to let you know right now that you can listen to the No Gamers podcast. We just launched the brand new episode of debut tonight on our YouTube channel. It's called Neutered. And we go into what they're doing right now with Jacob Fatu and the Bloodline and just all the crap that's happening over in the WWE. We are covering that. Myself and the Black Mac, Kelvin Kately. It is the DFPN. It is our YouTube channel, No Gimmicks Podcast, the real No Gimmicks Podcast on YouTube. So check it out. For my man, Gib'yon, I am D. Vader, and we will check you out in the next episode of the Rebel Empire right here on the DFPN. Take it easy.